Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Cables to Clouds podcast. My name is Chris Miles at BGP Main on Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever socials we're promoting today. I don't know which ones are good, which ones are bad. Most of them seem bad today. But anyways, with me as always is my good friend Tim McConaughey as my co-host. And today we have a fun episode for you. We have Alexis Berthoff, right?
Berthoff.
Berthoff. Yeah, I should have asked, but you know, Berthoff. Anyways,
consummate professionals.
But yeah, so we wanted to bring Alexis on and kind of talk about the concept of tech evangelism. If you are in the networking space and on any kind of social media, you've probably seen some type of content that Alexis has produced. She has this kind of mantra about making networking cool again, which I think we can all definitely benefit from that. So we wanted to bring Alexis on and have a discussion around that and talk about an upcoming event that she is organizing through her employer that Tim and I are both speaking at. So we'll get to that a little later. But before that, let's start with a brief intro. Alexis, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And big fan of the show. It's great to be here with you and Tim. If you guys haven't met me before, my name is Alexis Berthoff. I am currently a technical evangelist at a company called Megaport. Prior to that, I was a SE at Cisco, or a solutions engineer at Cisco for about 5 years, where I worked in their commercial segment representing all types of customers located around Washington, D.C. I create a lot of video content on social media. I've got 3 different platforms I maintain on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. It is all the same content, just peanut butter spread, because I don't have time to maintain 3 separate platforms with 3 different levels of content. But it's been a journey the past 2 years. I've really enjoyed getting to know the community a little bit better and just get involved and meet people. It's made it really fun. So happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for being on the show. So let's get right into it. So obviously you're a tech evangelist, right? Mm-hmm. So let's kind of maybe start with a brief definition of what tech evangelism is and what that actually means to you and to the broader community.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a role I didn't actually know existed. A lot of times when I tell people what I do, they go, evangelism. So you tell people about, our Savior? And I'm like, kind of, but in a technology sense, right? And the thing with technical evangelism is that it means different things at different companies and also to different people. The way that I describe it in the way that I currently work at Megaport is I sit in between product, so the people designing our solution, marketing, the people who are trying to get in front of our customers, sales, our sales team, the people who actually support our customers or our community themselves. And I help all 4 of those functions work better together. So I sit super closely with product. I'm tied into what new releases or features are coming out. I work with marketing. I help them refine their messaging from a technical standpoint to make sure that it's hitting all the right notes from the product team. So doing that in between translator role. I work with sales, so helping them support customers, taking feedback from the sales team and making sure it's getting heard by product and marketing. And then also working with customers themselves, being an active part of the community, doing things like this, participating in podcasts, going to NOGs, public speaking, being active on social media, and really being able to take that hands-on feedback and bring it back to sales, marketing, and product and just help everyone work a little bit better together.
Yeah, that's really good. So this is interesting. I've heard tech evangelists, and I agree with you, by the way, that it feels a little different depending on the company that you're at. I also hear, so I'm a technical marketing engineer at Cisco now, and what you described is very, very, I mean, it's almost copy paste, but
it's similar, same thing. I mean, I've talked to a lot of developer advocates too.
That too, I was going to say.
Or a field CTO. Field CTO is also very similar. And the conclusion that I've came to is whether you're a TME, a tech evangelist, a field CTO, even recently, I talked to someone who was a demo engineer, and it also sounded like they had the same job.
Yeah, it's interesting. The words that are the role is very similar, but the word that we use to describe it is very different across the industry.
Well, it just kind of goes back to where you're getting paid from, right? Like the bean counters need to find a place for your money to come from. And so depending on which company you're at, how they need to justify paying you, I think that has a lot to do with where your title comes from and also what organization you report into. Like I've met people who are developer advocates or tech evangelists and they roll up into marketing. Sometimes they roll up into product. Sometimes they roll up into sales. I roll up into go-to-market, which is kind of like product marketing and sales. Right. It just really depends on the business and yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No disrespect to the bean counters of the world. You know, you guys are very necessary in this world. So kind of going back to something that you've been kind of proposing on social media for a while now is this concept of making networking cool again. So I want to kind of get into that a little bit, and maybe before we talk about the how to make networking cool. Maybe let's take a step back and say why do we feel, or maybe why do we think that society, use the word society, feels that networking is uncool in some way? Is there kind of a point at which we think it fell off, or a reason there?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at most kids today, I'm going to generalize these kids. I'm 28 now.
These damn kids.
I can do that. The kids these days. They're not really looking at how their devices are connecting to the internet, right? Even when I graduated high school in 2015, and I didn't really care where Google was pulling the information from. I just cared that it was connected and I could get what I needed for my book report or to go on Instagram, or TikTok wasn't a thing then. Instagram or Vine or whatever it was. For my entertainment, I could talk to my friends. I wasn't really worried about how it was connecting. I was just more concerned with the fact that it was working. And I think it was a big jump because when we look at, and I came to this conclusion talking to Kevin Nance. Kevin is slightly older than me. He makes fun of me every time we talk because I find a way to bring it up in every episode we record together. But Kevin entered the industry at a time when the internet was being born. In the early 2000s, we were building out the first networks and, figuring out how to connect all these different data centers and all these different cloud applications. Blogs were really prevalent. Instant messaging, like AIM, was really prevalent. And the fact that you could connect to something was super exciting. And having a career in tech to go build out these big global networks, number one, it was a really safe, reliable job. Number two, it was a really exciting job because no one had done it before. And so there was a lot of people, maybe you guys could relate, who were like, oh my God, I'm graduating school. I want to go into networking because I want to build these networks. And now that the groundwork has been laid, I think a lot of people have forgotten or don't care how it works. They just care that it works. And so especially to a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old who's coming out of school and they're looking at, what career should I go into? Well, they want to go into tech because tech makes money. But when you look at Instagram or TikTok or even like top 10 highest paying tech jobs, it's cybersecurity, cloud, AI, data analytics, right? Software, computer science. No one's really talking about how all of that works because behind all of those careers, obviously there's a network that's connecting everything. And I think people have just forgotten.
Yeah, it's interesting. So we talk about this quite a bit on the podcast as well. Like networking Well, truthfully, system administration, true, if we're being honest, right? But like infrastructure generally is like water and power, right? It's infrastructure. Like you turn the water on and you expect the water to come out of the faucet. Like nobody figures out how that happens, and nobody thinks it's glorious that it happens, right? It's just expected.
Right. No, 100%. I think I've heard so many people use that analogy lately, and it's true, right? You walk into a place that doesn't have good cell phone service, and you're like, damn, you didn't stand up free Wi-Fi? I'm supposed to sit here at dinner with my thoughts? What is going on here? Clearly you don't have cell phone service. And it's just expected at this point. And so I think that's a big part of what we're seeing. And then on the other side, you know, I was a Cisco SE for 5 years. I'm very involved in the community. We have customers who are trying to hire companies who are trying to hire for these senior networking roles, and they can't find the right talent. The senior talent is being very, very highly sought after, and the new talent that's trying to come in is having a hard time keeping up or getting jobs, or they don't have the right level of expertise. And I just think there's like a big disconnect that's happening somewhere that we got to figure out how to solve soon.
Yeah, I think we've also talked about this on the show quite a bit in that, you know, the prevalence of AI and things like that, and compounding with people just not looking into this as a career field anymore, are probably going to, like I said, compound and remove the bottom rungs of the ladder, and then potentially, you know, kind of that talent pool altogether, right? If people aren't learning networking, and you know, there's probably a lot of people out there who are like, oh, I can just use AI and some LLM to figure out my, you know, simple networking issues, and we've already seen today that that's not really good in practice. So I think the initiative is very good. So, like, with that being said, obviously you've done a ton of industry events. You've been out talking to customers and colleagues quite a bit. What would you say your opinion is on kind of the state of networking today with all of these new technologies kind of coming into the fold as well, like AI, cloud, cybersecurity, et cetera? What do you feel is the current state of networking?
I mean, I think it's still really important. Number one, I think that as these networks are getting more and more complicated, there's going to be even more design considerations coming up, especially when we look at things like AI. I just sat on a session earlier today that was talking about designing networks for AI applications in the cloud. And from latency to bandwidth to the way you're doing your traffic routing, like to the protocols you're using, there are so many different design considerations that, you know, you need to keep up with. It's not 2001 anymore. These things are not basic. The applications we're connecting are not basic. And so I think things are just going to continue to get more and more complicated. And like you said, Chris, you can't just rely that AI in the future is going to be able to self-optimize and figure it out on its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny because what we're seeing is kind of a moving away from this kind of best in breed thing where, like, you know, all these, I guess, point solutions, depending on how you say it, right? Best in breed point solutions where everybody's was earlier, like, you know, 5 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, everybody's trying to find the best application to do the thing that they want to do. And they were fine with having these teams that would run 10 or 12 different solutions or something, as long as it was all best in breed and all worked. And now we're seeing very much the opposite. We're like, you know, we want the simplest possible option. Give us the easiest thing, the fastest thing, the most agile thing, the fewest buttons I have to click. And that's what people are really wanting.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, state of networking, I think we're still going to need network engineers. I think it's still important. Obviously, I wouldn't be beating the drum on social media if I didn't.
Yeah,
and it's still cool. I
think you're speaking to two people that still very much think it's very cool, or else we would probably not exist and have any money to our names at all. So I remember kind of talking about the concept of the skills gap. when, if we think about like just a few years ago with this whole like DevOps revolution, right, where people were moved into these kind of software development type life cycles around infrastructure. There was this constant like thought around, oh, like if you don't adapt, you're going to get left behind. And from a market perspective, it feels like there's a lot of infrastructure people that have moved to that mindset and are operating with those principles. But I don't know, as someone that's gone back into kind of more traditional infrastructure and cloud versus just solely cloud, in my career, I definitely see people that are not adopting those things and not using DevOps. So like, are you getting the gist from the community that like they are getting left behind in that scenario, or did that not come to fruition?
I think it depends on your business. I mean, automation is never a bad thing, in my opinion, if you can automate something and you have the ability to do it the right way. I think it's great. I don't think every team, every customer out there has the skill set, the bandwidth, the ability to implement those principles. And so there are definitely places that it's not being adopted, not because it shouldn't, but just because is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
Right? Would automating the size of their network really make a difference to their business if they have 5 sites? Nothing really changes that much. Now, if you have 300 sites, they're all over the US, you don't have a global team, maybe automation makes a little more sense. But I think there's levels to where your business is, and like just because you have a tool doesn't mean you need to use it, right?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important. The whole when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, like type of mindset there. But I couldn't agree more. When you have a very mismatched, that's when you tend to see the automation requirements is going to be like when you have a very mismatched control surface, if you will. You have like 2 people and they're managing 500 devices. Yes, absolutely. It's obvious that you need automation, whether or not you have the skills and whatnot. Those people are just going to have to learn automation. And the inverse is true, right? If you have one guy and he's managing 5 routers, obviously, like, it's like building Kubernetes for, to run a web page or something. Like it's the dumbest idea. So
exactly.
It's like that meme, the guy with the giant spoon. It's like my API driven workflow, and it's like my WordPress app, and it's like the little bowl of cereal.
The little tiny bowl of cereal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. So if we let's get into maybe the cool factor of networking and making it cool, right? So I think the thing is about networking is a lot of these protocols, there's an RFC specifically calling out this specifically. The technology has not changed very much in the last 20 to 30 years, right? Everything kind of is just a version of something older that's been repackaged, and maybe I will say there is automation being put into things now to make it more consumable for customers, but ultimately the wheel has not been reinvented in a long time. Whereas in the application space, maybe something like cloud or further up the stack, that you could probably make the argument that there's been, bigger gaps of innovation. But what are some of the things that you see coming into the fold that you think are cool from a networking perspective?
I think... Let me think about that. Chris, you're asking me hard questions.
Sorry.
No, let me buy you a little time anyway, actually. So something I learned that I think is actually going to be really cool. I hadn't been thinking about this at all. And I just went back to Cisco, became a TME, and I learned about the looming death of all VPNs, that is post-quantum cryptography. So, I don't know if you guys have seen that at all. I hadn't.
I just had a conversation about it this morning. That was really interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Crazy. It's like packet by packet encryption. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so this idea that we're going to have cryptography or quantum computers, what they call them is cryptographic. I'm going to stumble all over this. Cryptographically relevant quantum computing. It's one of those things where like it'll be 3 to 5 years or never. Like one of those technologies. So every time you say quantum, you got to say it that because it's either it is or isn't. But this idea that within 3 to 5 years, within a refresh cycle, you're going to have quantum computers that can basically break all current modern asymmetric encryption. So digital certificates gone, VPN, IPsec VPNs gone. Like anything that requires asymmetric encryption will just be broken. It'll be one day it's there, and the next day your encryption is useless. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. I would call that cool, Tim.
That one's scary because it's like it's a time sensitive thing, right? Because the time between now and when we have fully implemented kind of post quantum safe encryption,
right?
But that's not to say there's not a problem now, because if people are collecting encrypted data now, they can just bank it for years until they have the technology to obviously decrypt it. Yep. So it's
that's scary.
Yeah, it's really scary to think about.
I mean, the packets right now.
You know that people are doing that. That's
100%.
the thing.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Oh yeah, nation states are doing it today.
Nation states, yeah, for sure.
So anyway, yeah, that was my contribution. Like, but that stuff like that, I think, is just really cool. It's like the true nerd knob type stuff that makes technology cool.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that, especially when I talk to students about it, if you understand networking, you can really pivot anywhere else. Like, because it's such a foundational technology. I get a lot of questions or DMs from students that are like, I want to be a senior cloud engineer at AWS. What should I do? Or I want to go into cybersecurity. What should I do? Or I want to go into, whatever it is. And obviously I know a lot of people in the field that have those senior positions. And guess where they started? Networking. Mm-hmm. Right? And I see them all the time. They'll post every time I make a post about making network engineering cool or whatever. They drop in the comments on my LinkedIn and you can literally see their titles and what they're doing today. And they're like, I remember I started working help desk and then I got my CCNA and then I worked in a NOC. And you can see all of their career stories. And so many people want to skip ahead. And I can't say anything. I mean, I did hit a little bit of an accelerator in my own career, right? I was an accelerator program with Cisco out of college. I took my CCNA, CCNP. I was an aerospace engineer, got into Cisco, took my certs, and then a bunch of hands-on training for like a year. I got pushed in front of customers at the age of 23, and it was like, okay, go sell things.
I love CSAP.
Amazing. It was great. And don't get me wrong, I had a ton of field support from older engineers, but I missed a lot of foundational hands-on experience of working help desk, working in a NOC, feeling what it was like to work in support or work in my customer's shoes. And then I was told to go sell things. And thank God Cisco had a lot of the resources I could rely on. But even now, working, it's 5 years later, I'm in a different role. And I feel like I missed a lot of that foundational experience that you can't really go back and get.
Yeah. Very quick aside, because you said something really good there. We were talking with, and you haven't seen it because it didn't come out yet, but we were talking with Eric Cho about the AI, like what AI, like some of the things you can't replace by having AI. That's a very good example of something you couldn't replace just by having an LLM answer questions for you, is that foundational experience of actually doing the thing, the getting in the NOC and fixing problems and all that too. So that's really good.
Yeah. If I could go back and tell my college self one thing, it would be, I know you're an aerospace engineer. Go shadow your school's IT department because you're going to wish you had this later on. And then I would go in CSAP and hit the accelerator track.
Yep.
I can't go back in time.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Not to timestamp this recording, but Tim, that episode with Eric Cho is out, and if you are interested, you should go check it out. Anyways,
I'm dumb. But,
no, I think that's a good thing. Is like you kind of talk about what it means to be a network operator, and I think it's kind of a weird scenario there, because it's like there's people like Tim and I probably share the same opinion. Is we spent years doing network operations, learned some very valuable skills, but probably one of the biggest things we learned is that I will never do fucking operations ever again. Because so it's very unforgiving, and it's always just like an endless thing, right? But I think it's a great place to cut your teeth, and it speaks to the point where you meet like I'm good at troubleshooting because of the logic that I built in my mind from learning networking, right? And that applies to everything up the stack, like regardless of what it is, right? So it's you kind of build this very strong foundation of logic. But you know, I kind of do hope people can skip the operations perspective for a while, because it fucking sucks. But it's I guess it comes with the territory, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's one of those things like you only understand it once you've lived it.
Yeah. It's a look back thing.
I can sympathize, but I can't sit there and laugh the same as I would be able to if I was actually driving to the data center at 2 a.m. because I pushed a change and the switch didn't reboot, and now I need to go manually config into it. I just haven't done that before. I can relate to the story. Yeah. I can say I understand how much it sucks, but I didn't personally live it, and sometimes it's just a different level of relatability.
And that's okay though, because like tech evangelism goes so far beyond, you know, oh well, I happen to have done that, and therefore I am somehow more. It's not. I mean, I guess there are people out there that try to make it about that, but like it's not.
I do have a significant amount of imposter syndrome. If you have not picked that up, but I am dealing with that in line. So
welcome to the club.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm a CCIE and I still have plenty of that, so don't worry about that.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? I mean, I'm in a role now where I am talking about a lot of different technology, and I think it's really cool because I get to bring on all sorts of experts. And even when I was at Cisco and I was making content, like I would make content based off of questions that customers asked me, and I always had a senior engineer look at my script. Even now, I still have contacts throughout the industry. Hey, before I put this out there, what's your take? Right?
That's just smart.
So even if I haven't personally experienced something, I do fact check the content that I put out with people who have 25, 30 years of experience, that have personally experienced that pain, that have very professional opinions, whether they're security experts or data center experts or cloud experts. I do fact check my content with people I trust. But a lot of times, like, have I personally done some of that?
No, I think that's good. It's like you've obviously earned your stripes in the sense that you have a very strong sounding board to bounce things off of before, you know, you kind of put it out into the ether like that. So I think that's valuable, because there are a lot of people that don't fact check stuff before they put it on the internet, and it's not so great for the technical folks. Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of that, kind of engaging with, you know, kind of colleagues and experts and things like that, let's talk a little bit about the event that you've been scheduling for Megaport Connect. So tell us a little bit about that and when it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something I'm super excited for. So this is fully my brainchild. This was not sponsored by marketing or like pushed upon me by the business. I came to Megaport and I came from Cisco, right? I route switch, wireless, data center security, the whole nine. And working at Megaport was really my first foray into cloud, right? Megaport, what we're known for, if you aren't familiar with the company, is that we really got our start connecting businesses to the cloud. So a lot of direct connects, express routes, all of that. And at Cisco, I did a lot of, Cisco is cloud first or whatever you want to call it, with all the different things they put out. They're a security company, and just every other company. I refer to them like the Walmart of IT, honestly. Yeah. You can buy anything you want. But I sold a lot of route switch and wireless, and I knew my customers were connecting to the cloud, or Cisco had solutions that were based in the cloud, but I never really cared about how customers were getting there. And then I went to Megaport, and it's what we do, right? We're a layer 2 network provider between data center operators and the cloud. Software defined, provision on demand, but at the end of the day, it's all layer 2. And so then I got into the world of like, okay, well, what are we connecting to in the cloud? What's a VPC? What's a transit gateway? What's Cloud WAN? How are customers getting from their DCOs to the cloud? Middle mile, last mile, all that stuff. How does a customer actually call their telco to get these circuits stood up? Is it similar to when I'm trying to get internet into my apartment, right? And there's just not a lot out there, right? You can get cloud certifications from AWS, Google, Azure, whoever you want. There's like a million cloud certs. You can get networking certs, NetPlus, CCNA, CCNP. There's like 10 CCNPs at this point in every flavor and specialty. Guess what? There's not a lot of official stuff out there around cloud networking. And a lot of the customers I talked to, especially when I first came to Megaport and I was doing my research, they're normal network engineers at your everyday businesses, and their CISO or CIO decided that they're cloud first, and now Johnny has to figure out how to connect to Azure or AWS or Google. And it's all on them to figure it out, and they've got documentations and some blogs on Reddit. Maybe their sales rep. And that's it. And so I was like, well, shit, this is what we're really good at. We should do something about this and hold an event around all things cloud networking where we pull in our cloud providers, our partner community, our customers themselves, the Megaport SAs, and we are going to give the best damn crash course, one-day crash course on cloud networking that there exists out there. And so that is what we're doing.
I like it. I like it so much I might even speak on it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We've got 30 speakers, 30 different sessions. I split it up into 3 tracks. I wanted there to be something for everyone. Obviously, everyone is coming at a different level. So we've got fundamentals, advanced technical, and then an executive track if you want to talk about digital transformation and ROI. But all sorts of stuff, and then everything's going to be pre-recorded, and we're actually kicking off the Megaport community, where it's meant to be all around cloud networking. I considered calling it the cloud networking community, but I didn't want to make an acronym, and so I just called it the Megaport community. But it's about all things cloud networking, and to help people continue asking questions and connect with each other after the event.
Beautiful. Yeah, as 2 folks that kind of started a podcast around cloud networking and hybrid cloud, I think that's very prevalent to our interest. So yeah, that's awesome. We kind of scheduled this on the heels of you reaching out to Tim and I to speak at the event, which we were very honored to receive that. So thank you. And I think, Tim, have you recorded yours yet, or?
By the time you're seeing this, yes.
It will be recorded. There you go. So everything's recorded. Everything's good to go. And this is a virtual summit, right? So it'll all be, you can attend time zones, things like that. How does that work?
It's playing in East Coast. So it kicks off at, I believe, 9:15, October 23rd in East Coast time. But it is all pre-recorded, or will be recorded and released afterwards. So you can tune in anytime and go back and look at the sessions. Again, what we were really trying to do is just create a resource that people could use so it exists. And the sessions are out there and people can find them and learn from them and join the community to continue asking questions and just help support each other.
Now, if this is super successful, and I don't know what I'm kind of curious now, but I'm curious what the metrics of we're counting the metrics for success for this. But if it is super successful, are you going to do another one?
Well, it is already super successful, and we haven't even launched the event yet. So
there you go. Perfect.
We have 2,000 people registered right now. We're recording this on October 1st, and the summit is on October 23rd. So we've still got almost a full month to advertise.
Awesome.
And it is 3 times the size of Megaport's biggest webinar ever. So by those stats, it is already considered a huge success, and we haven't even actually launched. So I'm assuming that, yes, we will be doing this again. If anyone has feedback, if you're listening to this, please attend the summit and fill out all of the feedback surveys about what you think so that we can make it even better next time. But yeah, the hope is just to continue supporting the community and give people a place to ask questions and continue learning.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, so if you're listening to this, I think this is going to post just a few days before the summit actually takes place. So please check the show notes. We'll have a link in there to register. Like we said, it's virtual, so just be a little cheeky. Maybe take some time off from work, block your calendar, attend the sessions. It will be very.
Someone asked me if they should take time off from work, and I was like, "What? You're going to take time off from work to go to a work thing?"
They obviously haven't played the game before. That's fine. Yeah. They'll learn. But yeah, we'll put all the details in the show notes. So if you want to register, highly recommend hopping on there. And with that, I think we'll wrap up. But Alexis, thank you so much for coming on today. Do you have anything else that you want to plug? Maybe a podcast of your own that you do, or anything else?
I mean, there's so many things I could plug. Let's see. Megaport, number 1. Join the summit. Buy some ports. No. If you enjoy listening to my voice, you can follow me on social media. Like I said, I've got 3 platforms. I try to post as frequently as I can on TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can find me at digital.byte, like a bite. And then Kevin Nans and I also recently launched a podcast called Life in Uptime. We interview people about their careers in technology. What we found is that, similar to what we were saying earlier, is that a lot of people started in networking and they have all these crazy jobs, or they got into leadership, or maybe they made a total career pivot into a different side of technology. And so we wanted to start a podcast basically interviewing people to show where they started and where they can go to help give people ideas of where they could take their career in tech and expose them to new opportunities. So if you enjoy listening to my voice, hopefully my microphone sounds better today, you could find us at Life in Uptime too.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Make sure to get everything in the notes, all links to everything.
100%. Yay. All right. Well, again, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, it seems you probably enjoyed this, so we greatly appreciate that. And we highly recommend subscribing and hopefully sharing this with a friend. And with that, we'll take it away, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Goodbye. Yay.